Hello friends. Here we have the problem from March 20th. Okay, so I'm going to read this carefully and chunk and underline important words. Mr. Brims buys 3 pounds of apples for $2 a pound, 5 pounds of mushrooms for $1 a pound, and 2 pounds of raspberries for $4 a pound. How much do his groceries cost? Chunk. How much change will he receive if he pays with $20? Chunk. Okay, so before we even unpack all this, we have 2 questions. How much do his groceries cost, and how much change will he receive if he pays with $20? So I'm going to go to the bottom and write my answer statements. How much do his groceries cost? His groceries cost some amount, and then it's asking how much change will he get if he pays with $20. So he will get some amount in change. Okay, so now there's a lot of information going on here, and I notice more than 2 numbers, so this is almost definitely a multiple step or a 2-part or 3-part problem. But before you even go dive down into each one of these little bits of it, let's think about what we know. There's a guy named Mr. Brims, and he's buying some apples, some mushrooms, and some raspberries. Okay, we can handle that. The best thing to do would probably be to split your workspace for each of these things that he's buying. So I'm going to make a section that I'll put A for apples, a section M for mushrooms, and a section R for raspberries. And now I'm going to take it bit by bit. So the first piece of information tells me he's buying 3 pounds of apples, and each of those pounds costs $2. So that tells me that if I want to know how much he spent on just apples, I'm going to take the 3 pounds and times it by the $2. And that's going to tell me how much he spends on apples. So I know 3 times 2 is 6, and that tells me I know Mr. Brims spends $6 on apples. Okay, 1 part down. Now I'm going to move on to mushrooms. I know he buys 5 pounds of mushrooms, and each of those costs $1 a pound. So I'm going to write 5 times $1 equals n. And remember, again, n is just the mystery number. It's the number we're solving for. It could be a question mark. It could be a box. But here, it's for right now, it's how much he's spending on mushrooms. And I know 5 times $1 is $5. And again, I'm going to just label it so I don't lose track of all these dollar amounts. So he spends $5 on mushrooms. Okay, and then finally I know he buys raspberries, and he buys 2 pounds of raspberries at $4 a pound. So 2 pounds times $4 a pound will give me how much he spends on raspberries. And I know 2 times 4 is 8. So now I know that Mr. Brims spent $8 on raspberries. Okay, so stop and think. Now I know how much he spent on apples and mushrooms and raspberries. And so this brings me to the first question. How much do his groceries cost? Well, we've all been to the grocery store. The way you figure out how much your groceries cost is you add up everything you buy. So the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to add up the $6 plus the $5 plus the $8 to get this total of how much Mr. Brims is spending on his groceries. Okay, well I know 6 plus 5 is 11, and then 11 plus 8 equals 19. So I know that Mr. Brims spends $19 on his groceries. So I can now finish my first answer statement. His groceries cost $19. Now I'm going to draw a line to split my space. Okay, I answered the first question, but now there's the second question. How much change will he receive if he pays with $20? Well, if it costs 20, I'm sorry, if he pays with 20 and it costs $19, how much is he getting back? 1 buckaroo. He's getting $1 back in change. So, what we did was we broke it into steps. We figured out how much the apples cost him, how much the mushrooms cost him, how much the raspberries cost him. Then, just like at a real grocery store, we added up all those groceries together and got $19. And then we know he paid with $20, so he gets $1 back. That's all for now.